Hello, everybody. This is Lenard Guzman here on the Life After Deep podcast with Emily Robinson with reindeer, uh, reindeer horns, I
Antlers,
think. Yeah,
antlers.
antlers. I don't know why I said horns. I'm so like Grinchy. I know like the Grinch. I watch the Grinch all the time. Anyway, we're here on our Christmas edition of the podcast. So we're here scrambling, I think, for like last minute Christmas gifts and plans canceling going on. How's it going over there with everything thrown in court, probably juggling kids, presents?
Yeah, it's been busy. I got my antlers, I got my present earrings, trying to be in the spirit. My kids are on school break, so they're happy. Trying to take a few days off to go camping over the holidays. But yeah, but it's still busy. The Ventura Court announced that they're going to be going to Zoom hearings, so that's good news. Keep people safer, being, in at home. You can do your hearings from home now, so that's great. So the courts are making the changes they need to, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and then I think the Senate, they made, and Congress and the White House, they have this sort of agreement with the stimulus packages. People are going to get direct payments. I haven't read on what the confirmation of the amount is, but they're going to extend unemployment and people have money in their bank account, not by Christmas, I believe, but I think probably the time in 2021.
Yeah.
So maybe family situations get a little bit of relief, and maybe, I don't know, divorces go down a little bit.
Yeah, I know that would be great. People need it, and I'm glad they're working on it. And the vaccine's out. My brother-in-law got it. He is a doctor, so he was one of the first people to get it. And hopefully it'll be available to the rest of us soon, and maybe life can get back to normal a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a weird. So we're here December 21st, right? So it's like a race, like the vaccines and the spreads, right? The infections and so yeah. So we'll see how it works. So let's get into the news here. This part of the show. So this part of the show, we're gonna go over what's kind of trending on the news online. Sometimes we go over celebrity divorces. Sometimes we find interesting topics. So Emily will kind of break down what's really true, what's really not true, and we try to have fun here sometimes. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so according to the first article, people.com, Tisha Campbell and Dwayne Martin finalized divorce 2 years after announcing split. Tisha Campbell announced her split from Dwayne Martin in 2018 after more than 20 years of marriage. That's a big difference. So she was the one in that show Martin, and then her husband, I guess, it has the name Martin. So I kind of got confused. I was like, did she marry Martin here? Okay. So let's get down to it a little bit. According to the divorce judgment obtained by People, which was filed in Los Angeles Supreme Court on Wednesday, the former couple were both restored to the status of single persons. I was married over 20 years, and out of that, I was blessed with 2 amazing kids. Beyond that, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Campbell, 52, said in a statement provided to People. A representative for Martin did not immediately respond to People's request for comment. The actress, who hyphenated her surname to Campbell Martin when she married in 1996, was restored to her former moniker of Campbell. The document states the former couple shared 2 sons, Zen Wahid, 19, and Ezekiel Zar, 11, and are sharing joint physical custody of their younger child, according to the document. Neither parent will pay spousal or child support to the other, and both have agreed to split expenses for their youngest son, including costs for his education, health care. The filing states that Campbell will have custody of Ezekiel on Mother's Day, and Martin will have the custody of the child on Father's Day. The pair will alternate custody between odd and even years for holidays such as Thanksgiving and Christmas. Let's see if we go down here. So moving forward, they both plan to be very involved in continuing to raise their two children, the insider added. Campbell and Martin, who previously filed for bankruptcy in 2016, were ordered to turn over their financial records after being accused of hiding $50,000 in their ongoing bankruptcy in April 2018. So it closes, what's the straw that broke the camel's back? I don't know, but I know that with their schedules and money issues, it all played into it. A source previously told People they've been through a lot of different stress tests, and sometimes couples just fall out of love. So is it kind of like, because they said they weren't going to pay any spousal or child support. Is that a common thing? Because this seems like a pretty like friendly separation.
Yeah, it really depends on incomes. If two people are both self-supporting and sharing equal custody time, a lot of times there might not be support. It's really when support is meant to be support when you don't have enough income to support yourself. But a lot of times people do, especially if it's two celebrities. And, sometimes there's a large difference between their celebrity status. But when you have someone like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, who both probably make a ton of money, versus you have Brad Pitt married to a C-list actor or something, that then there's a difference on the support you would pay. But a lot of times there isn't support in those situations.
Okay, Ray J's in the news. I think Kim Kardashian's like, when will you go away? Okay, TMZ, coming from TMZ, Ray J and Princess Love. Let's have baby number 3. ... Who cares? We're getting divorced. Ray J and Princess Love are in the middle of a divorce, but that's clearly not stopping them from possibly producing a third baby. But slow your roll. The process won't be all fun and games. The Love and hip hop stars openly talked about the possibility during the show's 4-part special dubbed Secrets Unlocked. It's set to air on January 4th on VH1. The news at first seemed to take Ray J by surprise, but hold your horses, because it seems Princess Love's thinking this is strictly a business transaction. This, of course, is interesting considering their divorce drama. As you'll recall, Princess Love filed for divorce back in May, only to later drop it after they reconciled. 4 months later, Ray J filed divorce papers. And as far as we know, that case rolls on. Remember, they have 2 kids together, daughter Melody and son Epic. They've continued to co-parent together and are clearly cordial enough to have done the VH1 special together. But a third baby, ? That took everyone by surprise, including Erica Mena, who has a similar request from her hubby, Fari. Things got wild and all. Carly Red, Mercedes, and Yandy Smith Harris need some popcorn because things were popping off. This is odd, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's ever smart to have a baby as a business transaction, but celebrities do stuff for the ratings and to make money, but I just can't see that turning out well. A baby is a living thing that deserves to have a good life with parents that love the baby. And I'm not saying they won't, but like having a baby in the midst of a divorce for financial reasons, that just doesn't seem like the healthiest life to start the baby, life with.
Hmm. Okay, this is interesting because I've been following this Jeffrey Epstein kind of documentary, and so this one came out. They didn't officially get married. I think it was his girlfriend, because Epstein's obviously committed suicide. So this one from the New York Post. Ghislaine Maxwell was trying to divorce secret hubby. According to court documents, court papers recently revealed that Jeffrey Epstein cohort Ghislaine Maxwell secretly tied the knot in 2016, but it turns out she was about to split from her husband when she was busted in July, according to newly unsealed documents, after federal agents picked up Epstein's alleged madam on a 6-count indictment. She allegedly told pre-trial services that she was in the process of divorcing her husband, wrote Assistant U.S. Attorneys Maureen Comey, Allison Moe, and Laura Pomerantz in a notion opposing a proposed $28.5 million bail package. The prosecutors called out Maxwell for not addressing the plainly inconsistent statements in her latest request for release to home confinement, which included a letter from her husband. Tech CEO Scott Borgerson described their loving marriage. Borgerson refused to come forward at the time of her arrest in July, when she made her first bid for bail, undermining her claim that her marriage is a tie that would keep her in the United States. The prosecutors argued also noted Maxwell's evasiveness about her finances. In seeking to keep her behind bars, Maxwell told pretrial services her total wealth is $3.8 million, and now is claiming she and her husband shared $22.5 million assets that she funneled through a trust to him. The Manhattan federal filing argued in the bank forms for the trust, they both listed their marital status as single, prosecutors wrote. So if we go down here, prosecutors also knocked down Maxwell's claims that her jail conditions are unbearable, noting that she has her own shower, has exclusive use of 2 different computers, has her own phone to use, and has her own television. Okay, so let's see. So Nathan, I guess, is one of the judges who rejected Maxwell's request for relief on a $5 million bond in July, calling her a serious flight risk. Expected to rule on the latest bail bid before Christmas. So first question, so why did they raise her bail? So $28.5 million to make sure she doesn't like bail the country? Is that, I mean?
Yeah, because you forfeit that money if you bail, if you leave the country or don't show up. So, they have to base it on how risky they think it is that you're going to go, and also how much money are you going to risk. You know what I mean? Because even if you get a bail bond, you still have to pay like 10%. So like most people couldn't afford a bail of $2 million, even if they're just paying the 10% for a bail bond.
And so they're trying to they were secretly married, and then they're in the, because she's getting prosecuted, they're like, well, we're in the process. So she's kind of like, here's some money, keep it in the bank account there. So this is a common thing, right?
Well, I mean, that probably does happen a lot. I think we talked about this last week. Like, there's ways to try to hide your assets through divorce, like having someone else hold them so that they're not seen to creditors, or transferring them to your spouse, or filing for divorce so it looks like you don't have it, your spouse has it. It is probably fairly common that people do this, because then the creditors would have to go after another person who they may not be able to go after because they don't have any connection to that person.
Okay, so the saga continues. We'll probably end up, we'll get a follow-up with this, how this case ends, because I think people are gonna probably take Christmas holiday. Okay, so now in this part of the show, we're gonna go over online posts. Users put up some UGC, some user-generated content. So Emily will kind of, give advice and tips on how to handle like life after divorce, going through the divorce process, child custody, alimony, all that good stuff. So first post, it's a life after divorce one. So one of the hardest things on the beginning about my divorce was losing his family. I don't really have one of my own, and because we got together so young, I was pregnant at 20, married 6 years after, I really looked up to his folks. He told me they hated me, told them lies about me, tried to prevent me from contacting them. I have enough self-esteem to have realized that he was trying to manipulate me and control who talked to whom, but with attempting to enter the workforce for the first time ever, parenting alone, and attempting to sell a home he abandoned. But his men's rights lawyer fought for him to keep the proceeds. I didn't have the time or wherewithal to reach out. I'll admit that it hurt that people who swore family comes first never checked to see how I was doing, but I figured that was the way it goes. My ex-mother-in-law reached out yesterday, 2 years after the divorce, to say she didn't want to lose me and apologize for not calling me sooner. During a difficult time of year, it meant a lot. Do you think she's ready to admit that her son is cruel and manipulative? Nah, I don't think she ever will. I don't need her to be, if I'm being honest. So acceptance is a gift. There's power in knowing that I don't need everyone on my side. I just needed to know I wasn't forgotten, and this is what you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the divorce, you're not just losing the person that you're divorcing, you're losing their family, and that is really hard. So a lot of times you became close with that family, but you don't have to lose them. I mean, we're adults, and if we can act like mature adults, then you could possibly maintain those relationships separately from the ex-spouse, especially if there's children and their grandparents and they're part of it. Those relationships can be maintained. So I think that's just an issue of having the maturity and the strength on both ends to maintain that relationship, but it's certainly doable, and I see it all the time.
Okay, this next one is custodial parents assumptions. So this has to do with custody and kids, something common at this time of year. Why does it seem perfectly obvious to make the mother the custodial parent? I can't help but feel a sort of societal resentment towards that notion. Are there any other considerations that are often taken into account? Has anyone heard of outcomes in which a father is a custodial parent? I have virtually 0% resentment about divorce and share my responsibility. But I've noticed this general assumption of maternal primacy in a child's life really touches a nerve with me. It's a fairly offensive assumption. Is it fair?
Well, I'm not sure where that person lives, but in California, it is not presumed that the mom is going to be the main custodial parent. Yes, when the child is a little baby and biologically might need the mother more because the baby's breastfeeding, things like that, then that may happen. But at least, where I practice in Los Angeles area, 50-50 is very common, that the parents are going to be joint custodians. And then if one parent is to be the primary custodian, it's really based on what's best for that child in that particular situation. And I see fathers becoming the main custodial parent all the time. So I don't think that it's that the mother is, you know, automatically assumed to be the primary custodial parent, at least not here.
Okay, this is our last post of the day. This one seems like it's a happy ending. So back together for the kids after 18 months apart. This is a life after divorce post. I went through a traditional divorce and separation. We never had a horrible relationship. There is just zero romance or even attraction to each other after 15-year marriage. 15 years of marriage, we both care deeply about our kids, and they're the most important thing to us. They're 15, 13, and 10. When we were apart, which lasted 18 months, the kids were highly disrupted, going back and forth from household to household. We are not really financially able to handle paying for two households that can house three kids each. We tried. She had to work a second job, so even when the kids were there, she was gone. I agreed to pay the rent, phone, bills, etc. We're in our early 40s and each still have student debt from our 20s. We were paying it down, but once we separated, we could do nothing more than just pay the minimums. It was just becoming obvious that our financial ability to care for the kids was just in jeopardy, and any more vacations were just out of the picture. So rather than continue that life where we were each alone, disrupting our kids' lives and unable to do anything other than work constantly, we decided to move back together and be more amicable. We don't hate each other. We're actually pretty good friends. Now we're able to go on vacations occasionally together, buy the kids things when we need to. They have stable lives now. So I guess you would call what we're doing is bird nesting. I'm just curious if others find themselves in similar situations together for the kids, and because of financial burdens. I'm not really interested in a clean separation. Even when we do eventually live apart, I want to do things together with all of us. Their mother and I are both a big part of that, and always will be. I'm sad that neither of us is able to be a model of a good, loving, and romantic relationship. That's just not in the cards for us. We tried working on it for years. There's no romantic attraction. So this happened. It seems like a kind of a good situation.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. It is harder to live separate and pay for two households. So I have seen people do this before, and if they can make it work, it's great, and it's great for the kids. The nesting that I've seen is typically people get like one little, studio apartment or something, and they alternate. Whoever has the kids stays in the house, and whoever doesn't have the kids goes to the apartment. And that's a way that you don't have to really live together, and you can afford your own space and have separate lives, but it's not as costly as having two places that are good for the kids. The kids get to stay in the house. They don't ever have to leave the house, which is nice for the kids. And that can work too. So again, it just depends on the people's personalities and how mature they can be and how well they can work together.
Yeah, I think my dad would like that. Like with the grandkids, the kids, he's like a studio apartment. This will be the greatest thing ever. I'm gonna go leave whatever I want. So okay,
have his own space.
Yeah. So look, that's all the time we have for today. So Emily, do you have? We're going through this kind of weird time where we do see some light at the end of the tunnel. With this whole year. Any last? Because this is gonna be like we have one more podcast before the end of the year. But what do you think?
One more. No, just I hope everybody has happy and safe holidays and can, get along as best as possible for the holidays, and that, and that next year's better for all of us.
Okay, so we'll see you on the next week on the Life After D podcast. Bye-bye.